Two of the three symbols line up. The third stops one position short. You lost. The machine says so, plainly, in a language it has no reason to lie in. That is not what your body just did. Something jumped. A small, hot spike right where a win would have gone. And underneath it, a thought that arrives fully formed. So close. You've had it with a lottery ticket, one number off. With a job you got to the final round of. With a parcel that said out for delivery and then didn't come. Losing badly is easy. You shrug and move on. Losing narrowly does something else entirely, and it does it against your will. Here is what makes that worth 11 minutes of your evening. It isn't an accident of how you're built. Somebody engineered it, filed a patent, and sold it to the entire industry. Psychologists gave the thing a name back in 1986. They call it the near-miss effect. The definition is dry. A failure that comes close to succeeding. Two jackpot symbols on the line, the third one landing just above or just below. Objectively, it is a loss. It pays nothing. It is worth exactly as much as any other loss, and it makes people keep playing. That was the observation. What took another 20 years was finding out why. But before the why, there is a better question, and almost nobody asks it. Why does a machine show you a near miss at all? Because on an honest machine, it would barely ever happen. Think about an old mechanical slot machine. 3 metal reels, 20 symbols on each. 1 jackpot symbol per reel. The maths is fixed by the metal. You want a bigger jackpot, you need longer odds. Longer odds mean more symbols. More symbols mean physically bigger reels. By the 1970s, the machines had hit a wall. To offer a life-changing prize, you'd have needed a reel the size of a door. Then a Norwegian engineer named Inge Telnes solved it, and the solution is beautiful and horrible at once. He filed the patent in 1984. Number 4,448,419. The idea: stop letting the metal decide anything. The physical reel still has 20 stops, but inside, the machine keeps a much longer list. A virtual reel. A random number gets drawn from that long list, and only then does the metal spin to the position it was told to. Which means the picture you see and the odds you face are no longer the same thing. A symbol can appear on the reel as often as the designer likes and pay out as rarely as the designer likes. The two numbers came apart and the player has no way to tell. And here is the part that stops you cold. The patent doesn't hide any of this. It explains it in the flat voice of engineering documentation. It is important, the patent says, to make a machine that is perceived to present greater chances of payoff than it actually has. I went and read it before making this. It is dry, technical, full of tables and circuit diagrams, and it says that in plain English. Not a loophole somebody found later. The purpose written down in 1984. IGT bought the patent in 1988 and licensed it to everyone. Every machine on every floor now runs some version of it. So the near miss stopped being an accident of the metal. It became a setting. Now back to the why. Why does a loss that pays nothing keep you in the chair? In 2009, a team at Cambridge put people in a brain scanner and let them play a simplified slot machine. Real money on the line. Wins, ordinary losses, and near misses. They were looking for what a near miss does that a plain loss doesn't. The answer came back in 2 halves, and the halves don't agree. Ask people how it felt, and near misses rated worse than ordinary losses. Not better, worse. Ask them how much they wanted to play again, and near misses beat ordinary losses easily. It made them feel bad and want more at the same time. In the scanner, you could see why. A near miss lit up the same reward circuitry as an actual win. The striatum, the insula. Your conscious mind filed it correctly as a loss. The older machinery underneath filed it as almost paid. And one more finding, the one that matters most for everything that came after. The effect was strongest when people had chosen something themselves, picked the symbol, set the play. Where there was no choice, it faded. So the design rule falls straight out of the science. Give people a lever. Let them pick something, anything. The choice changes nothing about the odds. It changes how the loss lands. Now, you'd hope somebody noticed all this and stepped in. Somebody did. And what happened next is stranger than doing nothing. In the late 1980s, Nevada regulators went after a manufacturer called Universal. Their machines ran a separate routine whose only job was to produce near misses, at a rate no physical reel could have managed. In April 1988, the Gaming Commission stopped their sales. In September, they were fined $25,000 and told to replace the programs. By 1989, it was settled. Universal's program, the one that generated near misses on purpose, was banned. Virtual reels, which produce near misses as a byproduct of how the symbols are weighted, were fine. They still are. They sit inside every machine you have ever played. Sit with that for a second. Both put a near miss in front of the player. Both were designed by somebody. Both do exactly the same thing to the person in the chair. The line got drawn inside the machine, where nobody playing it can see, and nowhere near the part that actually works on them. That is the regulation. It has held for over 30 years, and the transcripts from those hearings show the people involved understood the psychology at the time. They knew what it did. They drew the line somewhere it would inconvenience nobody and went home. For a long time, this was a casino problem, and you could avoid it by not going to casinos. That stopped being true somewhere around 2010. Open a game on your phone. The wheel spins and lands one segment past the good prize. That is not bad luck. That is a virtual reel, running the same idea Telnase patented on a screen instead of metal. A loot box shows you the rare item sliding past the marker before it settles on something ordinary. Nobody had to invent that. It was already solved decades ago by a Norwegian engineer. And notice what the design always includes. You tap the button, you pick the box, you choose the moment. The choice does nothing. Cambridge showed you why it's there anyway. Regulators have started to catch up in places. Belgium and the Netherlands moved on loot boxes, but the mechanism spread far past anywhere that gets regulated. A dating app that shows you a profile just outside your reach. A job platform that says you were in the final 3. A streak counter that breaks on day 98. Not all of it is deliberate. Some of it is people copying what they saw work, without knowing the name of what they copied. That may be worse. A designed trap can be regulated. A habit of design cannot. So here is the honest position, and it isn't a comfortable one. Knowing this does not switch it off. I have known about the near-miss effect for years. I read the patent for this video. I read the scanner study. I can explain the mechanism to you in a paragraph. Last month, a delivery slot came up one day later than I needed, and I refreshed the page 11 times. The knowledge sits in the part of your brain that writes explanations. The effect happens in a much older part that doesn't read. What knowing does change is one thing, and it's smaller than you'd like. It gives you a name for the feeling in the 2 seconds before you act on it. So close. That is the thought. And now you know something about that thought that you didn't before. It is not information about the world. It doesn't mean you were nearly there, because on a machine with a virtual reel, there is no nearly. There is a number that came up and a picture chosen to make you feel a particular way about it. The reel stopping one short is not the outcome. It is the product. Somebody sat down and worked out that the most profitable thing a machine can do is fail you narrowly. Then they wrote it into a patent, sold it to an industry, and watched it spread onto every screen you own. The next time something stops one position short of what you wanted, you will still feel it. That part isn't going anywhere. But you might notice that the near miss was the thing being sold to you all along. If a story like this is worth 7 minutes of your week, subscribe. One of these goes up regularly.